his house, my son said, why does Simon speak French? I was like, no, he speaks English. He said, no, he doesn't. I don't know why he thought French. It was just like to say a foreign language.
Right, just something so foreign.
Just something just so foreign.
Yeah.
But anyways, so it's using English during meal times. And back to this point about a little bit older age children, over 2, if they do have a certain a bad feeling, or they ask you to stop speaking English, which is totally possible they would, because it's different, and usually kids don't like things that are different. They like things that are the same and follow the routine and order. You just say, okay, and you stop speaking English that day, and you try again the next day, and eventually they will become used to it. Again, if you make it a routine, if you make it a habit, they eventually will become used to it.
But of course, starting from the very beginning, when they don't even realize, when they're not even really conscious of it, they won't notice. Yeah, and it's just a natural part of their environment.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's habit 1. Okay, what about habit 2?
So just to finish the habit 1 part, there's 2 different ways you could use English at home. You could use it with like a time and a place method, we just talked about, one specific routine. You could also have it be one parent, one language, which any of your listeners who are interested in this topic of bilingualism will have heard that one parent uses English and one parent doesn't. These are just options. Basically, the most beneficial thing to do if you want to use English at home is kind of to have a certain time or a certain person where the child can kind of start categorizing when the language is used. If that makes sense. So they know what to expect, because they like to know what to expect. Okay, so then moving on to the next habit. The next habit would be using English during playtime. Okay, so this is the time, of course, when your children are playing. And there are 2 different types of play that we could think about. We can think about like child-led play. So this is like the unstructured, uninterrupted play where they are putting trains together or playing in the kitchen or doing whatever your child likes to do. And you get down to their level and you just start making comments or mimicking their actions, or even repeating if they're at a level of their own linguistic development in their own language where they're speaking to themselves, which often children do in their native language. You could just repeat what they say in English. And you're kind of, some people call it like sports casting. So you're sports casting what they're doing, but you're just doing it in English. But you're not leading the play. You're not taking over what they're doing. You're just letting them play, and you're just kind of being there like a sportscaster.
Right. And so he's got the ball and he's running down the hallway and he crosses the ball and smash! The plates have fallen off the table and his mother's come in and she's not happy. Look at that expression on her face. And he's been given the red card, straight to bed with no story. Not exactly like that, I guess, but
I knew you were going to take that one.
We think, like, let's say if my daughter's on the floor of her bedroom, she's got her magnet toys. I could say, oh yeah, so you're building a castle. Wow, that's great. Okay, yeah, put one. Are you going to put the red one on top of the green one? Okay. Oh look, I see you've made a roof. That's nice. So what are you going to do now? I see you're putting a spire on it. Okay. Oh, that's terrible. That's an awful card. That's terrible. What are you doing? That's rubbish. No, don't do that.
But you don't judge. You don't like take over their play.
Absolutely.
No judging.
Yes. So I was joking there when I started criticizing. You don't do that. You just simply describe what they're doing. Just commentate and describe what they're doing. Yes.
Comment. You can also, you can like try not to intervene and direct their play for it to truly be like child-led free play. But just, oh, look at that. There goes the train under the bridge. And then the child says, for example, in Spanish, they could say, el bus. And you say, look, there goes the long yellow bus up the hill. So you're taking their limited vocabulary and you're just going with it and expanding on it.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And then the next type would be adult-led play. And I think this is often what people think of when they think of using English at home with their kids, because it does require a little bit more thought and planning. It's not as as spontaneous as what we've talked about in the other habits. But of course, you could go in and lead an activity. So you could do, for example, a role-playing game, like playing kitchen or doctor. And you're kind of leading the play. Okay, let's play doctors. And okay, I'm going to be this doctor and you're going to be the patient. Or you could even do a puppet show where of course, this is with a bit older children, but you're making characters with this is this puppet and this puppet says to that puppet. Really, the choice of the game that you are going to lead will depend on their developmental stage and what they're interested in. Something that I'm interested in and I try to force on my children is yoga.
Oh, yeah.
And there's this awesome channel called Cosmic Yoga.
Oh, yeah, of course, with Jamie.
So
yeah,
good.
yoga with Jamie.
It's
yeah.
so good. And
Fantastic.
she does okay, put your hands up over your head and now you're a rocket. And she does very simple but descriptive, fun classes. It would be great for kids, that are starting with English as well, because they're watching it and they're moving, and it's something really fun to do together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my daughter has been doing yoga with Jamie for years. Well, I say years and years, like decades, but she's fine.
They go way back.
Yeah. My daughter and Jamie, they've been hanging around. No, so yeah, Jamie's great, and she's all her yoga videos are based around different themes. So there's a Star Wars one, there's a Frozen one, there's Pokemon ones, there's we're going on a bear hunt one, and all sorts of things. Yeah.
She actually does one, if there are any kids out there or parents who are interested in space, where she has an astronaut on, and the astronaut, she does yoga in space. And it's so cool because you wouldn't really think about it, but actual space in a spaceship. So she's doing yoga and she talks. Yeah. So she talks about it because to do yoga, of course, you need gravity. To do tree pose, to stand on one leg and put your foot in the inside of your calf or in the inside. You need gravity to hold all those things together. But so it's just cool. And then she does
she's
a
doing yoga
scene.
in zero gravity. Really?
Exactly. The astronaut. Jamie doesn't go to space. That would be cool.
Right.
She's awesome. She's awesome, but they haven't sent her to space to film her YouTube video.
Or just the way that we send things into space when they get when something's really good. Ultimately, we just send it into space. This is the best that humans have got to offer. We'll send it into space so that if aliens, they'll be aliens discover humanity because we sent them Beethoven and yoga with Jamie. Okay, you get an idea of the sort of thing. You'll know when you've made it when you get sent into space to be discovered by aliens. Hopefully, Luke's English podcast will end up in space at some point. They'll just fire me out into space.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You'll just be there in a pod, just recording your episodes.
Exactly.
Just rolling around, zero gravity. I believe.
Sounds pretty good to me. That's what I'm hoping for. I don't know what all the other English podcasts out there, what they're aiming for, but that's my objective, to be fired out into space in a pod with a microphone. Yeah. Okay.
Aim high.
Yeah, very high in this case, all the way out of the atmosphere. Right. Anyway, enough nonsense. So guided play, right? So that's where you set up the game and create the conditions of the game in English, role-playing games and stuff like that, or doing yoga in English. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it's important to say that in all parts of the language journey with your children, for people who are non-native speakers who are using English as their second language, and also for people like us where, we speak English as our first language and we use it with our children, you're never, I don't like to say never, but they can't say anything wrong. If my child says, no, it's not the bus, it's el bus, that's not wrong. I would never no, we're speaking English now. You just kind of roll with it.
Yeah.
Wrong. It's
Go
really
to your bedroom. But we're already in the bedroom. Well, okay, stay here.
It's really like anything goes. Like it's just, I can't say enough. Like it's just not rigid. It's just very fluid, and you just repeat. No, you just, oh yeah, the yellow bus is going up the hill. You know, you just roll with it. It's really not complicated. It's not rocket science. We're not going to space as much as we would like to. It's just playtime and relaxed. And you also want to be relaxed about it because you are going to transmit that to them. So if you're relaxed, having fun, they're going to like it. They're going to develop a good bond, a good relationship with English. And that is the goal at this young age.
Because, I mean, perhaps understandably, a lot of people, when they think about sort of teaching English or helping people learn English, including kids, your mind goes back to the school situation, and that goes back to being corrected. It goes back to being rules and discipline and red marks on pieces of paper, red pen with a big cross, and then a unhappy face, or having to see the teacher and failing and passing. And this is often the mental space in which learning English happens for many people. But what you're saying is that it doesn't have to be that way. In fact, that doesn't help really. And the best way, if you're doing it at home with kids, is to just, have no rules or boundaries, and it's playtime in English.
Exactly. And I would go further than that, Luke, to say, imagine two scenarios. One scenario where we have a parent who has, we'll say, imperfect English. They speak English, but it's not native level English. They use English at home during a routine, during playtime, from a young age. And then we have another child who goes to a organized activity outside of the house with a great teacher who sits all the kids in a circle and does a workbook, and they're coloring pages, and that's in English.
Yeah.
But the kid doesn't enjoy it. Or it's just 1 hour a week, 1 hour or 45 minutes. That's very little exposure. I would say it is far more superior, the parent who's using English at home, than sending them to this type of activity. Of course, if your child likes this activity and you're doing it in a